Hey guys, it's James here from eBassGuitar and welcome to the second part of the Chicken for Beginners. In this lesson, I want to show you how to create 5 killer bass fills based on the original Jaco Pastorius bass line. If this sounds good, make sure you check out this lesson all the way to the end. Hey guys, it's James here from eBassGuitar and welcome to the second part of the Chicken for Beginners. A few weeks back we released a lesson showing how beginner bass players can approach playing the legendary Jaco Pastorius tune, The Chicken, and we've had a super great response to this, and I've been asked time and time again, can I demonstrate some of the fills that I was playing on that lesson? So yes, of course I can. So what I've done is I've put together 5 killer bass fills based upon The Chicken that you guys can learn today. First of all, make sure you go back and check out The Chicken for Beginners Part 1. That is YouTube lesson number 102 on the eBassGuitar blog. That will set the full context and give the background knowledge that you need to start approaching this lesson. Also, if you want to take the ideas further in this particular lesson, check out another lesson that I did right at the very beginning, YouTube lesson number 18, where I demonstrated a Jaco Pastorius concept called the open string bounce. So if you want to push these ideas even further, that is a great lesson too. So guys, as always, there's a completely free PDF workbook which comes with this lesson. So if you want to see all of the ideas that we're discussing today written out in standard, notation and tab, click the link in the description below. Also, if you want to grab the backing track that we're using in this lesson, this is part of an album called the Jazz Jam Backing Track Album, which you can buy over at ebassguitar.com. So let's talk about fill number 1, which sounds like this. But before we go any further, I want to let you into a little secret. What I'm going to show you today, I don't really class as fills. What I class them as variations upon the bass line, because this is already a very, very busy bass line. So it's kind of tricky to play fills over it anyway. So what I find is better is finding simple ways to add variations to what Jaco Pastorius did to begin with. So what I encourage you to do is jump over to the original lesson and make sure you learn this bass line thoroughly to begin with. So what I'm going to do this lesson is literally vary one beat to begin with of this particular bass line, because I find this is the simplest way to start creating fills or variations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the first 3 beats absolutely identical. So let's just talk through that. It's going to be dum ba da 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 da. So those are our first 3 beats which are staying absolutely static. So that is an 8th note with a 16th note at the end of the first beat, dum ga, and then into this line da da da, which is 2 16th notes, and then another 16th note right at the end of the 16th at the end of the second beat, da da da. So you get bum ba da da da. And then this last beat on the last phrase on beat 3, da-da, 1, 2, 3, ba-da, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to put that all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, bum, ba-da-da-da-da-da, dum, ba-da-da-da-da-da. And that is stayed identical from the very first lesson that we discussed on this, YouTube lesson number 102. But what I'm going to do now is vary that 4th beat, and this is the key to adding those little bits of flavor into your bass lines here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to input 4 16th notes in that last beat, which is going to be 2 Gs, an A flat and a B flat, because we are working over a B flat 7 chord, like that. So let's put that all together. Let's go back to the original bass line. Okay, let's play one of each. So So hopefully you can see how just varying one beat to begin with can be a really effective way of starting to create fills. So guys, let's move on to variation or fill number 2 now. Let me play it to you to begin with so you can hear what it sounds like. So again, we have left those first 3 beats identical. Then we have put 4/16 notes in on the last beat of the bar. On example number 1, it was. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop these down the octave. And this is a bass line that I use all of the time when I'm playing the chicken. And this bass line is 2 Gs, like that, 2 Gs, an A flat, an open A like that, and then hitting the B flat at the end. So let's put the whole of that line together. Okay, let's play the original bass line and then that alteration there. So 1, 2, 3, bar. So often what I will do is I will play the original bass line and then I will play the variation, because I find that is a great way of constructing bass lines. So let's move on to fill number 3 now. Now we're going to leave the first 2 beats of the bar absolutely identical and vary beats 3 and beats 4. Now I touched on this on the original lesson, so you may want to go and check out that one in YouTube lesson number 102. But let me play the bass line first of all so you know what it sounds like. So those original 2 beats are staying absolutely identical. And again. So make sure you get that really internalized. Now off beat 3, what we are doing is we are doing this bass line. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And so that is an E natural on the second 16. On the third 16th of the bar, it's an F. And now this is the clever note. We're going to hit an open D at the end. These open notes are really the key to getting the speed into it. So let's just put those first 3 beats together. 1, 2, 3. Like that. Now, this is the part I really love, is we're going to put a slide in at the end. We're going to play 4/16 notes, but we are going to slide the first 2. So we're going to go from an F to a G. Like that. 1, 2. And then we're just going to go B flat, G. Like that. 1, 2, 3, 4 on the last beat of the bar. So let's put the whole phrase together. So slides are a really powerful way of getting the speed into it. So what I want to do now is show you how to transpose this into E flat, because this bass line will work with a fretted root. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the E flat like this, like that, and we're going to slide into the notes up the top. So we're going to go, but the key here is to keep that open string identical. Like that. I know it doesn't sound like it works with the chord, but it goes so fast that we don't really hear it. Like that. And then we can slide in to like that. Like that. So just by inserting that open string, we can now move this shape throughout all of the other chords. And into the G. And then we hit that unison phrase at the end. So what I want to do now is demonstrate these first 3 fills in context so you can see what they sound like. 2, 3, 4. total clarity there. In that demonstration, I was only using the 3 fills that we've discussed so far in this lesson and moving them through the sequence. So guys, if you're enjoying this lesson, make sure you check out the Bass Lab Plus, where I show beginner to intermediate bass players construct bass lines just like this. We have a full bassline creation course called the Rock, Pop and Motown Bassline Creation Course. So if you want to learn how to create bass lines in those styles, make sure you check out the Bass Lab Plus over at eBassGuitar. There is a link in the description below where you can join free with a 14-day trial. So in fill number 4, what I want to do is show you how to transition from the B flat chord to the E flat chord. There's a very set walk up which often happens in bar 4 of the sequence, which I want to take you through now. So we are going from a B flat chord to an E flat chord here, and what often happens to begin with is we push into the E flat chord by an 8th note. So we go 1 2 3 4 and 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 and what we do is we stick a fill in there. The most obvious fill that we can put in there is an octave run up like this. So we can go B flat, C, C sharp, then D, E flat like this. So, which is a fantastic fill in itself, which can work really nicely. But I want to give you some insights into the kind of bass lines that I would play here. What you can do is you could put the old disco bass line in there, which is an 8th note and 2/16. So we end up with like that, which works absolutely brilliantly. But what I want to do is show you something that I do here. And what I do is I often put an open G in there. So let me show you very slowly. It's the same pattern of 8th note and 2/16 notes, but do that like that, and then the same thing on the C like that, and then the same thing on the C sharp like that, and then push it into the D and E flat like that. But when you play that slowly, it sounds quite discordant because the G doesn't work, but you're working at such great speed, it ends up as more of a percussive effect. So let me demonstrate like that. And this really is one of the secrets to the Jaco Pastorius funk style. So I really encourage you to get this down. Also, make sure you use the right fingering on the right hand or your plucking hand. So what I do here is I go 1 and then 1 2. That is really essential to getting the string crossing clean. Like that. So that is a really important transition from the B flat to the E flat. So to finish this lesson off, I want to show you fill number 5, and this really is one of my favorite styles of fills. It really is synonymous with the James Jamerson and Motown kind of ideas, and it works brilliantly over the C chord. So let me play it to you before we talk about it. 1 2 3 4. So what we've got here is what I call a lower drop, and it works brilliantly over a C chord, because if we play the C at fret 3, we can drop to the major third, which is normally there, which is an open string, which is such a powerful thing to do. And then that rhythmic framework that we talked about right at the beginning can stay identical. So if we go, all we can do is just drop that down the octave for the first 2 beats, like that. And then we can add 3/16 notes after that, like that. So rest on the first 16th note and we go F sharp, G, and then an open E, like that. 1 2 3. 1 2 3, like that. So let's put those 3 beats together. And then let's add 4/16 notes right at the end of the bar to take us back round to the C. So those 16th notes are going to be 2 A's, and then a B flat, a B natural, and a C. So that's a really nice chromatic bass line to take us back round to the C. So it's kind of a line which just loops really nicely round. So let's just play it. 1 2 3 4. You want to to make it a touch simpler to begin with, you can take out the open E. I really like it, but it works equally well without it. So to wrap up this lesson, I want to demonstrate all 5 of these concepts in action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use fills number 1 and 2 over the B flat chords, and then I'm going to use fill number 4 to ascend from the B flat to the E flat. Then I'm going to use fill number 3 to work my way through the E flat, the D, and then the G chord, like that. And then for the 3 bars of C at the end of the sequence, I'm going to use fill number 5, and then I'm going to hit that all important unison phrase. If you want to see that unison phrase written out, make sure you check out YouTube lesson number 102, and don't forget you can see absolutely everything we've discussed in this lesson written out in standard notation and tab in the free PDF workbook. There's a link in the description below. Over now to the demonstration to finish this lesson off. 3, 4. So guys, that's the end of today's bass guitar lesson. If you've enjoyed this lesson on the chicken, make sure you download the free PDF cheat sheet so you can see everything we've discussed written out in standard notation and tab. There's a link in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out the Bass Lab Plus over at eBassGuitar.com for a full bass guitar program designed even especially for the beginner to intermediate bass player. Cheers, I've been James from eBassGuitar.com, and I will catch you next time.